Welcome back to our podcast. Today I have a friend and a coworker called Ben. He is my operations manager, and so he manages a whole lot of employees that we have, part-time employees throughout the state, to actually operate boilers. And he himself is a stationary steam engineer. He's got an exciting story that I want him to share with you as we kind of walk through his journey into the skilled trades. Recently, he bought a scooter purchase as well, right? Did you bring it?
No, I didn't bring the electric scooter with me.
Okay, so
It's a little cold in Cleveland right now to be out there riding an electric scooter around having a hoot.
Listen,
There was
how
still
fast
snow
does
on
it
the
go,
ground.
though? That's what I want
I
everybody
think
to
it
know.
maxes out around 40 to 45 miles an hour.
I'm waiting for the time when I get to visit you in the hospital. That's what I'm hoping to see pretty soon. I'm not hoping. I just know it's gonna happen.
The fun thing is my wife's also waiting for that time to come visit me in the hospital when of my untimely demise.
I don't think you're making much sense of this, but I have been on one that went 12 miles an hour, and I nearly broke my ankle. That's what happened. And then I had a friend who had yours, and he said he got up to like 27 miles an hour, and he couldn't get any faster because he was going so fast that he had tears in his eyes and everything was blurry.
It sounds like you should have been wearing goggles. That's really where he messed up.
All right, that being the case, the skilled trades have afforded you this luxury, but let's talk about it and where you began with them too. So like, give me a little background about how you originally got kind of connected with the skilled trades, your outlook on it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I was working in a retail world at the time. I had gotten out of the Army, was going to college, and ended up meeting my now wife. And I was just not very happy where I was at in the retail world anymore. I guess he was a mutual friend at that point who kind of pointed me in the direction. He was trying to explain to me what a stationary steam engineer was. I said, so you drive a train that doesn't move, or what's going on here? What's the situation? And he was like, no, it's not like that. And went on to explain it to me, and ultimately did play a part in me getting hired into the industry. And since then, it's just been a wild ride.
Yeah. So first contact into like the trade that you're now doing, which is working with boilers, that's how we met, was a friend, kind of in your own context, right? Had you known that person prior to that time, or?
He was dating my sister.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that much about him, but he was around at the holidays. And
I'm only asking because like I remember for me too, like I had a time where I knew people were in a certain trade, but I hadn't really listened, you know what I mean, until I had a need. So, working for you, like, working where you were, there was a certain amount of climb to it, I'm sure, that was satisfying for a little while. Then you hit the end of it and the problems of that moment become so aware. And now all of a sudden you're looking for something else, right? And even though there may have been people in your life who were, having these other kinds of careers that require, some technical training and in order to get into the, some upward mobility is available to you at that point. So let's talk about your way into that. You went to college, as you had mentioned. So what was your decision to go into college? And then we'll get to, why you left.
So when I got out of the Army, I was a 68 whiskey healthcare specialist in the Army. So upon getting out, I thought nursing seems like a viable option.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is a nurse. She's been a nurse since as long as I can remember at this point.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a bad gig. 12-hour shifts, 3 12s a week, 36 hours. Decent work-life balance as well.
How long ago was this?
2016 is when I would have gotten out of the Army and started going to college. That would have been that fall. But things happen and things change. I met my lovely wife. I decided that my heart really wasn't in going to college. Yeah. Then an opportunity presented itself to jump from where I was working into another aspect of the retail world with a large pay jump and more responsibility. So I jump, I do that. And that's kind of what led me up to meeting that guy.
Absolutely.
About what they're doing. And then ultimately I took a fairly large dip in pay when I decided to jump into the skilled trades. At the beginning, it was an understood loss.
Right.
But was able to make up for it.
Yeah.
In a great amount later.
The same thing happened to me when I jumped from one career into finally skilled trades. It wasn't this like magic switch overnight for sure. Actually, I made less money too. I think that's a common thing because in a skills-based world, which includes white collar, blue collar, retail, anything, right? You got to know some things to be valuable. And there's a period of time in the beginning where you're not, I was not very valuable. Let me speak for me. I know the reasons why I decided to jump, and there was something that was more fulfilling ultimately that I was going to be able to find in almost like that different pathway, right? As I looked at all the applications that I put into new jobs, of which there were many new jobs, I think I ended up working 6 total jobs in that period of transition. Every application that I made, I would put reasons for leaving my current job was something like just not the kind of upward mobility that I was looking for. And that was very important to me at the time, that I felt like I could sink my teeth into. And now I feel like I've landed that. Apparently you have too. You've stuck around for a while. What do you find that's fulfilling in the skilled trade that you're hanging out in right now?
My role right now, as far as being the operations manager, is probably where I find the most joy in what we're doing. Not that, tending to the boilers and making sure everything is running and doing what it's supposed to do is not fulfilling. But when I get a call from a customer who's looking for some sort of operational support, temporary help, things like that, I think about putting myself in that person's shoes that's currently working there and really just in the thick of it, not enjoying what they're doing because they're being ran so ragged. And that's what I find the joy in, is being able to give them a hand, like a light rack here. You don't have to drown anymore. We can help.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that a lot too. I mean, we can't name any names. It wasn't that long ago that we've had some clients where we need some operators, to run this complicated equipment, and they need to have certain licenses and that kind of stuff. And we're willing to pay for it and all that kind of stuff. Like they're talking to us. We're not the cheapest option, to contract out. So they're in a desperate situation. Yet on the tour of the new place, you're also touring an air mattress, where the operator is literally sleeping in the control room because,
that's just how it is.
They don't have that many people to do that. Yeah. To be able to bring relief to those situations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what brings me joy. That's it. Enjoy the most out of it.
Can you think of anything during your time, even as a boiler operator, some things, moments, aha moments, or people?
I always tell people in the plant that I worked before I came to work for you, there's going to be a moment when everything kind of clicks. And everybody always kind of looked at me like, oh, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. And then when it happens, they come to like, it does make sense now. Because every area of the plant seems like it's working on its own, but there's that moment where that's how they intertwine.
Absolutely.
That's how this beast works.
Yeah. 2 days ago, we were in a plant maybe a mile or two from here, a peaker power plant. There's some equipment that we know around that area. It's a huge complex of equipment, all running for one singular purpose, to make electricity. That was kind of the moment that we were desiring, was like, man, this is so complicated. But if you were to work here for quite some time and invest some moments, it would be a pride-worthy badge, right, to all of a sudden say, oh man, I know this place, right?
I get it.
It's a kind of a big.
This makes sense now.
Absolutely. So obviously we're not down on college here. We are up on trying to make skilled trades an equal opportunity, if you want to say it that way. But that being the case, everything has challenges. Can you talk about some of the challenges that you've experienced in skilled trades?
My challenge is very similar to your start. Like, hey, go do this. I'm going to need a little bit more information for how to do that than just go do it. And it's not fun when you don't know anything. When you walk in and you're a new guy and they expect you to do something, and you just have to stand there and be like, can you give me a little bit more guidance?
Yeah.
What are you, an idiot? You can't figure out. Hold on.
Yeah.
You give me a little bit of guidance and I'll make some headway here.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about it today on my drive up here, that it's not really fun in the beginning. And then as you start to piece things together and build your knowledge, I understand how that works now. that's when things start to get fun.
Yeah.
It's that initial walking into the room and understanding that I don't understand anything. It's a large hurdle to get over, and a lot of people have too much pride to admit that I don't know. You can ask people that I've worked with previously. They know that I'll say, I don't know.
Yeah, there's not an oasis in the skilled trades where you come over and everything is rainbow and unicorns. It's like there's problems, and especially with the great skills gap that there's assimilation problems. So like when somebody new comes in, like you or I, and we don't even really know what equipment we're standing next to, let alone what to do with it, we need some time to
Wrap your head around it.
absolutely. And it takes good people and good resources to be able to do that. It'd be my encouragement, especially, as we've experienced, even to listeners out there, like to think about it this way. You can learn more about your trade rather than just sitting where you are. Sometimes if the crew or the company or the situation that you're in is not giving you those resources, like I know for you and I, we had some of those people to be able to help us, over time. And those are the people that we latched onto. But eventually, if this is something that you really want to build your skills in, sometimes you have to seek for it yourself outside of the context that is readily, in front of you. And some of the negativity about the skilled trades come from people who are caught in that vicious cycle of gatekeeping and not really understanding. And ultimately, you're just button pushing or doing the bare minimum. And although that is what is required of you to get the job done, there's very big gaps of fulfillment there. Yeah, definitely. So for you, like, what are some things that you feel like you can say that your skills have evolved? People, moments, tools. How did you evolve your skills? How would you kind of look at that?
Well, the biggest evolution in my skill set would come from getting to go out on jobs with my lovely boss at Steamworks. He takes me out with him whenever feasible.
I'm amazing.
Onto different job sites and seeing other people's systems, because you tend to get a little, I don't want to say complacent, but almost to a level of complacency where, I'm seeing the same thing every day. But being able to go out and look at another system and understand why it's not doing what it's supposed to do. If you were called there for a Steam system survey and you bring me along, you quiz me while we're there.
Yeah.
You walk the system, and you'll notice things and then start quizzing me. And that's where I think I really started to change.
Yeah. And in our business, like we come up against that singular plant syndrome where we only know as much as we know here. And so going other places is really helpful. Complacency can be, certainly anywhere. And the continuity is like that we have to stretch ourselves, but it never feels good to stretch yourself.
No.
It never feels good to say you don't know a certain thing when you've been the person, possibly even relied upon to fix the job. And there's just, there's a human level that we just don't know everything. And yeah, I had the same experience. And, I needed new experiences and new capacities of people around me, if that makes sense, right? A new mentor maybe is a better way of putting that, but somebody who had
Pretty good one.
yes. Yeah, we both do. We have the same one. Yeah. I mean, surrounding yourself with people who care about it is actually a choice and sometimes a struggle to kind of uproot yourself from what is easier, than just maintaining, I suppose. But what it does is develops these tremendous skills and makes you as a person in the industry far more valuable, Yeah, I can't lose you now, Ben. I need you in this industry for sure.
We'll talk about that at the next performance review.
Can you say that you're passionate about what you do? What do you think?
I can.
Yeah.
I care about the continuity of services when I'm working on site, providing a service to a customer.
Yeah.
As the operator or even as the operations manager, and helping these people out of the pickle that they're in. Like you mentioned the air mattress. I wasn't going to bring it up, but
Yeah.
when that operator walked me around the boiler house, I thought he was joking.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, ha, 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 you sleep here, whatever. And we come around the corner of their boiler. I look over and there's an air mattress, probably queen size air mattress, fitted sheets on it, bed made, the whole nine. He might have even had a stuffed animal on there for all I know. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And be able to fill in a need like that is,
Let that man sleep in his own bed.
yeah, no doubt. How does one get passionate about steam or electricity or elevator mechanics or any of that? Like, there's rarer a person today that has some idol when they're young who's doing those kinds of things, that you might naturally become passionate about. So how does that happen?
I was not super passionate about the skilled trades when I jumped into the role that I was in previously, before I had gotten my stationary steam engineer license, and being an entry-level position and felt like I was doing just a bunch of grunt work, and then I worked my way up. I got to attend this really great class, and the teacher of the class, put on by Steamworks,
Shameless.
it seemed the general public doesn't care. It is a utility that is on or off. That's how it goes.
Oh.
And a lot of how they were running the boilers where I was at previously was that it's on, who cares?
Yeah.
That's where I think I became passionate about it, because people don't know. And you got to spread that good word, if you will, about steam. That giant metal contraption over there could very easily end up in the parking lot if
Right.
you're not taking care of it and treating it with respect.
Yes, we could become SpaceX too, or something like that. Or are we allowed to plug that? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Elon's going to be mad.
Let's talk about the way that the skilled trade, affects you, your life personally, your relationships personally. Has it been good, bad, indifferent?
I will say bad at first. The situation that I was in when I took the pay cut to get into the industry, substantial, but I was basically told you can work whatever overtime you want. So I became very well acquainted with my off shift. Days I wasn't there, they were there. So spent a lot of time working overtime. Once I got my license, I still worked a fair bit of overtime. And since then, in my new role, my work-life balance has been so much better.
Yeah.
The days that I find myself feeling stressed is most of the time when I'm sitting at home, working from home, doing operations manager work. I'm like, I'm still home. I don't have to be in boots. I don't have to be in jeans. I could sit here in some gym shorts and work from home. And I'm always very thankful when I kind of recenter around that. I didn't have to get up at 3:45 today, put boots on. My work-life balance is a lot better.
Yeah. It's important, and it's tough in the skilled trades. There's such a lack of people, and I'm sure many other people experience this as well, but I can speak to what I know. There's so many people that are needed that it's very easy to work a lot and overdo it. There's actually so much opportunity that I've seen it burn people out for sure.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Pushed myself to that point before.
Yeah.
But
there's a certain freedom in being able to choose, but it seems that some of us, I'll put myself on the chopping block there, sometimes choose the wrong thing, choose the money.
Hey, Christmas presents aren't cheap.
No doubt.
I have kids born in each part of the year, it feels like. So whenever I feel like, hey, look, we're going to be able to get ahead or save some money this season, and birthday party.
Oh my gosh, man. So what would you give to, like, as an advice, okay, to someone who's looking to see if they could find some joy and satisfaction in the skilled trades?
I would say get comfortable with people that you're working with. Make friends with the people you work with, because who you spend your time with is important. My brother-in-law just started a new job at a place that I had worked at, and he asked me, what can I expect? And I was like, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, but the schedule is good. You're off every other weekend. The longest stretch you really ever have to work is 3 days in a row. Find joy in that and enjoy your time off work. Don't go home and think about what condition that work is going to be in when you get back in the next time.
Yeah.
Just when you clock out.
Yeah.
I don't take that very well. because I'm thinking about work all the time. But it's easy to give somebody advice, not take it.
That's what we're here to do. It's just tell people what they ought to do and not do it. That was a joke. Let's see. Continuing education here. Sometimes there's a feeling in the skilled trades like what we do is awfully basic. There's something satisfying about believing that your brain is engaged. You know what I mean? Do you feel that way?
Yeah. The conversation we had last week that I think this is going to ruffle some feathers, but I think there should be some sort of continuing education for stationary steam engineer, high pressure boiler operator in the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
Because you get your license and then it's, hey, pay us $70 a month or $70 a year, and that's it.
Yeah.
You're not gaining new skills. They expect nurses and other people who get a license to continue their education. It feels like there should be, because there is a whole lot of intricate things that you can break down and learn.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of that from you, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But how long did you say it would take for you to put on a class just on valves?
Yeah, how long?
40-hour class just on valves, or longer.
Sure, yeah.
So there's always something that people could be thinking about.
Yeah.
Hey, what's that thing that I always have an issue with? And break it down. Read a book.
Yeah, the path is longer, I think, than most people think. There's exit ramps at every point of the road. Like you could pull off and be done and find a situation to work in for yourself. But I certainly have found, I know we've experienced this together, that, the more that I learn, the less that I feel like I understand. There's a rabbit hole at every single corner, it seems, these days, definitely. So what would you say to someone if they were considering maybe a career in the skilled trades, but they're kind of unsure? Someone who's not quite there, but maybe they're considering it.
Find somebody that you know in the skilled trades. My brother-in-law is a journeyman electrician, and I've talked to him multiple times about the skilled trades. And my other brother-in-law was dead set that he was going to be an electrician as well. That didn't pan out for him. And now he contacted me a few months ago and said, hey, how do you feel about me applying here where I used to work? And I kind of pointed him in that direction and gave him the information that would be helpful when he starts. Talk to somebody in the skilled trades.
Yeah.
Talk to you.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to talk to anybody, but
yeah, I think people sometimes, I don't know if there's an anxiety or a fear about it, but, call up a union, call up a trade school, call up a career center, call up a business. I've seen that before. Just like, hey, how does one get involved in that way? And, there's sure some people out there that don't want to be bothered with that, as far as I'm thinking like maybe businesses or something like that. But for every business is going to say no to you, there's another one out there that if they're doing this, a lot of people have bet a lot on this trade and they care a lot about it. And I know you have conversations all the time about our little corner of the world, talking about the benefits and the hardships of it. And that's just part of getting into the skilled trades, is looking at square in the eye and saying, what is this going to take? And what is it going to give me? And how do I get connected? And
when I say reach out to me and ask, I mean, I do know people in a little bit of every kind of area of the skilled trades, and worked with enough contractors that I could probably get them in touch with somebody that could help them.
That's true. Absolutely. And across the country too.
I don't want my inbox to be completely blown up, but I will do what I can to help somebody.
Say everyone should email you.
Here we go.
I think it's
been dinging nonstop like 2 days now.
Oh, you don't even know what it is, man. It's about to come after you. So can you say that the skilled trades have kind of served your life and been able to kind of give you the freedom to choose a happy life?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah.
It has provided a lovely life for my family and I couldn't dream about doing something else at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, me neither.
Boss is kind of rough sometimes, but
you ain't gotta go do that, man. Hey, listen, we're excited about the skilled trades here, and in maybe a sentence or less, right? Tell me about the good news, about the good kind of job that you got in your skilled trade. Why would someone be a boiler operator, for example?
You're the heartbeat of the plant. Nothing moves in that facility without steam. In about any industrial setting, the boiler operator makes or breaks the entire plant. They might not think about you being in the back corner of the building in your little control room, but if that boiler shuts down, you best believe they know where that room is. They're going to come running. You're important.
Yeah.
And you should know that.
I love it, man. I love that every trade can have something like that to share, and that you have some kind of major value in the industry. And I really appreciate that you're working with me, and that we get to be friends while we get to do it. And thank you for sharing your experience.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Peace.
Thanks for watching our video. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe us on our channels. And if you want to continue the conversation to find out if there's a skilled trade that's built for your future career, be sure to pick up our book called Skill Stigma at skillstigma.com.